I'm going to preview the number 22 Baylor at Oklahoma State women's basketball game, which will be played December 31st at 2 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. And I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And yes, I'm using the current rankings. Apparently, there will not be a new AP poll until a week from now. So just a heads up there. And I'm going to go over like the records for both of these teams real fast. Obviously, Baylor's 11-3 on the year, 0-1 in the Big 12 with that loss to Texas Tech at home, 61-60. The only other losses were to Texas, and Talia Scott did get hurt, but even if she was healthy, I don't think it changes the result, to be honest, of a win and a loss. And the only other loss was against Iowa in a WBCA showcase in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. It was 57-52. Obviously, Oklahoma State's 12-2 on the year, 1-0 in the Big 12. And they're coming off of a conference win against Cincinnati, and they should have won that game anyway, because look at Cincinnati's record. I don't care if it was a road game. That would have been a really bad loss when I see one. It was 91-63. The only two losses were to against Oklahoma, and it was a neutral site game in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma 92-70. That's not really a bad loss right there. Now, they did lose to St. John's on the road 74-67 on January 19th. And St. John's is not like some bad team or anything because they're 11-3, and maybe they'll make the NCAA tournament down the line. I'll say this though, even though Oklahoma State is not ranked, they are a dangerous team to say the least. They are receiving the most receiving votes in terms of not teams that are not ranked right now, with 37 of them. So they are what I consider dangerous, and it's not even mentioning what they have in terms of points per game, because they have 6 double-digit scores and nearly a 7th one. Then there's a little bit of a drop-off from there. And obviously the biggest elephant in the room when I see it is Talia Scott going to be healthier? She hardly played last game. It was only at the very end. So just a heads up there. And obviously Ella Brown has not played all year long. She's getting closer. It's more like, when she's going to come back? And obviously Inez Gorianova, she has not played in her Baylor career. She redshirted last year, obviously, because of a torn ACL back in that January. And she's still recovering, and she's not getting any closer. So that's just addressing that side of things. And we'll see about the injury report from the Big 12 on this game. And I know Oklahoma State does have a player out for the year. I know they do. And that's why I'm not going to even mention her. So the first player I want to mention is Haley Timmer, number 13, 5'11" guard. That's a senior. 15.9 points per game, 43 for 86 on threes, 90.3% on free throws on 31 attempts, 3.1 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, 1.8 steals per game, 1.5 fouls per game. There's Micah Gray, number 3, 5'8" guard. That is a senior. 15.4 points per game, 35.8% on threes on 106 attempts, 91.9% on free throws on 37 attempts, 2.1 rebounds per game, 2.66 assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. There's Lena Girardi, Giradi, and you might recognize the last name because her dad was actually a baseball manager and a former MLB player. Number 2, 5'11" guard. That is a freshman, 12.4 points per game, 42.3% on threes on 97 attempts, 84.2% on free throws on 19 attempts, 2.8 rebounds per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, and 1.6 fouls per game. There's Jane Wooden, number 6, 5'6" guard, as a sophomore. 11.7 points per game, 42.9% on threes, but that's on 14 attempts. 72.2% on free throws on 36 attempts, 3.9 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 1.4 steals per game, 1.9 fouls per game. There's Amari Whiting, and you might recognize that name because she was at BYU for the last 2 years before her mom got fired. So, number 1, 5'10" guard as a junior, 11.6 points per game, 40.9% on threes on 44 attempts, 70.5% on free throws on 44 attempts, 6 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, 2.1 turnovers per game, 2.3 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game. There's Acot, Achol, and an Akot, and I apologize if I butchered that. You might recognize that name, actually, because she was at UCF prior to Oklahoma State. Number 11, 6'1" forward. That is a junior, 10.6 points per game, 0 for 4 on threes, 71.9% on free throws on 32 attempts, 7.4 rebounds per game. So despite the lack of height, she could rebound the ball, obviously. 1.5 turnovers per game, 1.6 steals per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 2.4 fouls per game. And there's Staley Hurd. You might recognize that name from the past. Number 32, 5'11" guard as a junior, 9.6 points per game. 22.4% on threes on 49 attempts. And she's been a better three-point shooter in the past, though. 80.9% on free throws on 47 attempts. 4.4 rebounds per game. 2.2 assists per game. 2.1 turnovers per game. 1.6 steals per game. And 2.4 fouls per game. Then from there, it's a big drop-off to 3.1 points per game. And there's only 2 more players I'm really going to mention. And that's Praise Egareva. Egharevba. Number 24, 6'3" forward as a junior, 3.1 points per game, 12 for 18 on free throws, 3.8 rebounds per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 1.8 fouls per game. And there's Faith Acker, but she doesn't hardly play unless it's in blowouts, and she did not play last game, despite being a blowout. Number 55, 6'2" center, that is a junior, 3.1 points per game, 2 for 6 on free throws, and 0.8 fouls per game. Obviously, whatever you did right last game, you got to bring in this game. Whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct. And in particular, like the turnovers and the free throw shooting. And the defensive lapses at times, and making more shots in general. And you cannot let one loss try to beat you twice. And you cannot be happy with the opposing team in Texas Tech celebrating their win over you on your home floor. So you got to use that as motivation going in this game. Be angry. Be ticked off. You want to get that bad taste out of your mouth that you had since before Christmas in terms of a win and a loss here. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively, not just from first half to second half, but during the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, maybe even overtime. You get the whole point. And I know there might have been some questionable calls coming up, but at the end of the day, you got to make plays to win. And I know it's questionable officiating against Texas Tech, but let's try to not get to a situation that you have to rely on officials in general to not call something or to call something. I'm just saying. On defense, you got to create some turnovers. Contain the shooters, contain the slashers. Don't let them live at the free throw line because they will make free throws. You got to limit the points in the paint some, but you got to make sure you don't let them kill you from deep so much. So you got to contest really hard and make it hard for them to shoot the ball and be good at out of bounds underneath and in late game situations as well. You got to limit those second chance points as well, because that can be a difference in games. And that comes with, you got to get some defensive rebounds. Now, offensively, it's obvious you got to take care of the ball better and make more shots. And it comes with shot selection, not just from shot selection, but you got to hit shots in general. Even if they're wide open, you got to hit them. Knock it down. Obviously, on the turnovers, you don't want to have so many live ball turnovers either. And you got to handle the press better, because I know Oklahoma State does use a little bit of the press, or some. I'm just saying. And you got to get some offensive rebounds, to get some second chance points. Some points in the paint, whether it's from a paint drive or a straight post up, it doesn't really matter. And get some transition points. And obviously on defense, you want to limit those transition points. And get some points on turnovers, because that can be a difference in games here. And you got to be good in those late game situations as well on offense. And same thing goes for getting the ball inbounded from underneath your own scoring basket as well. Besides the side out of bounds, and same thing goes for side out of bounds on defense. Obviously, it's a next player up mentality in case Talia Scott does not play that much. If she plays at all, and obviously if she does play, hopefully she's 100% closer to 100%, and she could step up in this type of game because she does make a difference. Look at the points per game. I'm just saying. Hopefully, Bella Farmerway has a better offensive day than she did last game. She was 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 5 on threes. But she had 6 rebounds, and she played good defense. And I know she fouled that one time, and that could have been like a 50-50 call right there. But still. And hopefully Darion LePage-Bucks steps up in this type of game as well. And hopefully get a double-double. That would really help. And Janet Van Gineby, hopefully she continued what she had last game in terms of points and assists and just limit the turnovers some. Markea Johnson just needs to do her role. She doesn't need to be another Talia Scott in terms of taking some of those shots that she takes. It's just you got to take some good shots and you got to make the open ones. And hopefully Kirsten Johnson does have a better game in terms of the points. Though rebounding and blocking shots, we need her to step up. And the same thing goes for Kyla Abraham as well. She had 6 points last game, and I know that last foul that she committed, that was a lot of ball. I mean, very little contact, and a lot of her hand was touching the ball. So that looked like a clean block to me, but that's besides the point. And hopefully she could step up in it. If nothing else, you got to have Kayla Nelm step up. And maybe she'll play more in this game because of matchups. Maybe she will. And she did have a career high in the game prior to Texas Tech against Southern. So if she could go off, that would really help. And obviously have a Yuting Dong step up off the bench does help as well. I know it was at a loss, but Yuting Dong had a career game of 22 points. On 7 for 11 shooting, 4 for 5 on threes, and yes, 4 for 7 on free throws, and hopefully they make more free throws. And Nikki Collins did say in the press conference, it's got to be a little bit better on free throws in the last game. And even the game before, she said, right before halftime, go to the practice game. Don't even go into the locker room. You got to work on your free throws. So you get the whole point. If Kirsten Johnson does play, not Kirsten Johnson, I meant Pemberton, she does play. She does need to do her role. And maybe if Ella Brown does play, she just needs to do her role. If she even plays at all, because she has not played all year long. Though she's been without a boot for a while now. It's more like when she's going to play at this point. And you cannot let one game beat you twice emotionally. And I know that was brutally tough to lose at home. But you cannot put yourself in a bind in terms of the Big 12. If you have your goals in front of you in terms of winning the Big 12 this year, you got to make up for that loss at home against Texas Tech by getting a win here. And I'm not looking ahead or anything, but the following game is tougher than this one in terms of, because it is a ranked opponent against Iowa State that's currently number 10 in the country. And I'll preview that game whenever it gets closer. So you need to find a way to bounce back here and be hungry going to this game. And obviously you need to try to take the Oklahoma State fans out of the game as much as possible while getting your fans involved. And don't be intimidated about it as a team. Seriously, play your game. Be not just physically tough, but emotionally tough. And you got to keep your composure as well. Because the last thing you want is a technical foul or anything like that. We'll have to obviously wait and see what happens in the game, though. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you guys later on the road. 800 subscribers scores ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So many money. Those scores like video, comment video really helps YouTube backgrounds so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well as more people could watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, freak the notification bell as well. And I'm not trying to look way ahead or anything, but if you want to be a top 4 seed for the NCAA tournament or even better, you got to find a way to bounce back and win this type of game. Because this is a quality opponent right here. And you can't rely on other results happening around you to be a top 4 seed again. So I'm just saying, gotta move on emotionally and focus on this game. Take it one play at a time. If you have a lead late in the game, you got protected a lot better than you did in that Texas Tech game because you were up 60-57 and let that game slip. And I know that was 2 questionable calls, and the Texas Tech made that free throws, and you had a close chance to win the game late. But still, though, if you have a lead, got protected, if not extended. If you're trailing, try to try to overcome it and be emotionally, emotionally stronger and mentally stronger. Because you cannot try to be down in your luck. You got to pick yourself up from the mat and go out and play very hard. And you can't get all the points back at once. You got to just get like a scoring run, get like a stop and a score, and get like a scoring run to get yourself back in the game if need be. So let's go work.